Hi, Casey with Excellent AdventureVan. So our Ford Econoline 350 AdventureVan was kind of struggling on the last trip. We went camping up in Tahoe. We camped for 2 nights. We ran our max air fan and our stereo and some of the interior lighting for a couple of days, a couple hours a night. Not a lot, but it was still enough that when we went to start the van to drive out of the campsite 2 days later, it had a hard time starting. So I've got like a weird off-the-shelf, off-brand battery in there right now in the engine bay. The battery on the frame looks way older than that, so that was probably dead, and they probably put one in the engine bay, which basically sapped some of the power from the new one, and I don't know, it's not good. So I've been a die-hard Optima battery guy my entire life. Great batteries, had several. But when I went to go shopping this time, I found out that Optima is not made in the United States anymore. So I started looking at what other absorbed glass mat or AGM batteries are made in the United States, and Odyssey Battery came up in my search. And Odyssey batteries on paper are pretty incredible. This is the Group 65 PC1750T battery, which is the only one that's going to fit in the E350 van. It takes 2. So it's a pretty big chunk of change to change both batteries to AGMs, but you want your batteries to be the same. So it's pretty important. But on paper, 950 cold cranking amps, 1750 PHC amps, which I'm not sure what that stands for, and 145-minute reserve capacity per battery. That's a ton of juice. So I figured you guys didn't really seem to like the unboxing video. But I figured we'd start with a little bit of unboxing and then show the product off a little bit. And then show you some details on the install as well. So, don't cut toward yourself. The other great thing, Odyssey, not only great customer service, but they ship these batteries out of a local warehouse to me. I had them 2 days after I ordered them. So it looks like you have a sticker with some information and QR code. Little owner's pamphlet. You want to come in and show how they're boxed. These are really packaged well. So they have like 1.5 to 2 inches thick of cardboard that's cut out that holds the battery in place, both top and bottom. It protects the terminals and it protects the battery case. They're not light, they're about 53 pounds a piece. But that is it. Odyssey battery, absorbed glass mat, sealed. So my understanding is they can be mounted in literally any position. No fumes. Just a lighter weight design than a typical lead acid battery. So when you have a dual battery system, my understanding is that you're supposed to balance the batteries before you install them. So if you want to look at my voltmeter here, this one has 12.79 volts DC, 1280, 1279, so right there on the line between the two. And this one has 1278, so that's pretty good. What I'll do is I'll probably stick them both on the trickle charger, just top them off before I put them in the van, check them again just to make sure. We'll do a little comparative test between this and the battery we take out. Actually, that's 1279, 1278. This one is 1280, 1279. They'd probably be fine going in just like this. And they've been sitting in our living room for about a week since we received them too, so that's pretty good, fresh out of the box. Anyway, Odyssey Extreme Series battery, 65 PC1750 is the part number, 950 cold cranking amps times 2, 1900 cold cranking amps. This should crank over a 7.3 like it's nothing. 145 minutes reserve capacity each, 1750 amps total. Pretty impressive battery. I can't wait to see how these work in the van, how the van cranks over with them. Not that the other battery system really had a hard time cranking the 7.3, but it's a big engine. It's heavy rotating assembly. It'll be neat to see if these like crank over really fast. And you know, the added benefit of being able to go camping for a couple of days and be able to still start your rig when you're done. That should be pretty great too. So stay tuned and we'll show you some more. Thanks.
Okay, so putting the EverStart Max battery on the scale, it's actually weighing in at 45 pounds, which, you know, I've hefted this thing in and out of the van a couple of times now. That's lighter than I would have guessed. It's possible that it lost some of its acid over the years, but that's a pretty light battery, 45 pounds. Impressive. Okay, so throwing the Odyssey Extreme on the scale, it's actually weighing in at 54 pounds. 9 pounds heavier than the comparable lead acid battery. I'd always heard that absorbed glass mat batteries were lighter than lead acid, though the Odysseys have a reputation for being extremely well built, so possibly the added weight is just a little extra beef. I'm certainly not going to notice it on an 8,500 pound van, so I'm not going to worry. All right, now, don't go putting your brand new fancy absorbed glass mat battery in a rusty, gross, full of dirt and road grime battery box on the side of your frame. Hit that thing with a wire brush, give it a coat of paint. I didn't have a lid on my frame mounted battery, so I ordered a lid off of eBay. It was about 30 bucks. This battery should stay looking nice a lot longer than the last one.
Okay, so these are the stock batteries. They're thoroughly charged up. Just took it on a nice long drive. So 12.89, 12.88, 89 resting volts. We're gonna fire it up so that you can hear the speed at which it cranks over, and then take a look at the charging voltage, and then we'll put the new batteries in and do a comparison. So it looks like it's charging at about 13.8 volts. 13.83. Let's turn the headlights on and see if that changes. Same, 13.82. All right, we'll swap in the new batteries and then do a comparison. Okay, so we've got our Odyssey Extreme absorbed glass mat batteries installed. These are not fully charged up like the batteries that we took out. As you can see, only 12.72 volts. They've been sitting for a couple of weeks while I've been working on other parts of the van. But I'm pretty confident that they're going to crank the motor over even easier than the old batteries. So here we go. We're going to start it up. And the alternator just kicked on. As you can see, it's charging at 14.14, 15. It's slowly creeping up. Let's watch it and see how high it goes. It's like 14.2 volts, so a little less resistance from the battery, a little higher alternator output.
All right, so I'm pretty impressed with the Odyssey batteries at this point. After sitting for 2 weeks, dropping 0.2 of a volt, they crank the engine over just as easily, if not even a little bit faster maybe, than the stock batteries with a full charge did. But as I was looking back through the video, I noticed something interesting. This is the peak voltage drop during cranking on the EverStart Max battery. You can see it dropped to 10.89 volts as it was cranking the engine over. Okay, and so here you have the Odyssey Extreme batteries, 11.76 volts was the peak drop as I was cranking over the engine. 11.76, so it's almost a full volt higher or less voltage drop during cranking than the comparable lead acid batteries, and at a lower state of charge on the Odyssey as well. So I'm no electrician, but what this tells me is that this battery cranks over the diesel engine way more easily than a lead acid battery does. What it tells me is that I can have a higher state of discharge and still drive out of a camping spot, which is exactly the reason for this upgrade, at least until we get solar. You know, that's a very important factor. Overall, I'm really happy with these Odyssey batteries. Not only do they look great, they're built like a tank, and they've got some serious juice. So we'll do another video maybe a year or two down the road and see how they're doing still. Anyway, thanks for watching.